Hi guys, and welcome to the What's New webinar for the latest version of Mission Control, version 1.36. This is now available on the App Exchange as of Wednesday the 24th of August 2016. We've got a bunch of features to get through, so let's take a quick look at all of the new stuff that's being released as part of this version. We've got a number of major features coming in as part of this release. As you can see here on the screen, we've got a new feature called Action Contributors. We've got the ability now to calculate financials at a skill-based level. We've also got a brand new resource assignment wizard that will help you determine which is the most suitable resource to take on a job. There's been a number of enhancements applied to the scheduler, and we now see the introduction of billing events, which allows us to generate invoices and credit notes against projects. And we've got a new expense logger that allows us to submit a number of expenses in one interface. And another feature that a few people have asked for is the ability to export a mission control project into a format that could be imported into Microsoft Project. As well as these major features, we've got a number of minor enhancements across a few different features within mission control, so we'll take a look at those towards the end. The new feature coming into mission control in this release is Action Contributors. Let's take a quick look at what this means. Up until now, if you wanted to have more than one resource allocated on an action, you actually had to create multiple actions, assigning one person to each action. This would enable you to have the action appear on each person's scheduler and timesheet. For example, if Kelly, Joel and Mick were all required to attend a 4-hour workshop with a client, you would need to create 3 separate actions on the project, as the example shows below. We're excited to announce that you can now add contributors to an action. This means that you can create just one action, assign an owner to it, and then add multiple contributors to it, specifying how many hours they're going to contribute. This means you'll be able to create the example below where you have one action for a workshop. Kelly is the owner. There are 12 hours scheduled, and you can see there that both Mick and Joel will be contributing 4 hours. For each contributor, you're able to specify the billable hours and non-billable hours they will be contributing. The best way to use the contributors feature is via the resource assignment wizard, which we'll take a look at in further detail in a later section of this What's New webinar. The next new feature we're going to take a look at is skills-based financials. So far, you've been able to use standard and role-based financials to calculate the billable and cost rates of a project. Let's just recap on what the standard and role-based financial options provide us with. Using the standard rate, we're able to calculate the billable and cost financials using a day rate specified on the project. This means regardless of the person delivering the work, the same day rates will be applied. You can see here all 3 people working on the project are going to have the same billable day rate and the same cost rate. The role-based option allows us to calculate the billable and cost financials using the hourly rates specified on the role record for the individual person delivering the work. You can see in this example, if Colin is working on the project, we'll be billing him at $150 an hour and paying him $100 an hour, whereas for Chris, we'll be billing him at $140 an hour and paying him $90. The new option we're pleased to be introducing is a skills-based financial method. This allows you to calculate the billable and cost financials using the hourly rates specified on the skills assignment record for the person delivering the work. You can see in this example, for Colin, when he's working on a project and he's using the skill design, we'll be billing him at $150 an hour and we'll be paying him $100. If he's using the training skill, he will be billed out at $120 an hour and we'll pay him $90 an hour. Let's take a look at this inside Mission Control. To support the new skills-based financials option, The skills assignment object has had two new fields added to it, billable hourly rate and cost hourly rate. Let's take a quick look at someone's role record. The fields can be added to the related list so you can see which skills have hourly rates associated with them. The easiest way to update skills assignment costs for each individual role is by clicking the edit button on the role page layout. If I scroll down, you'll see you can add in hourly rates for the billable and cost rates for each individual skill as required, where the person is paid the same hourly rates for the skill as are specified on their standard role rate records. You can leave them blank for the individual skills, as the skills-based financial option will default to the role rates where there is no billable or cost hourly rate specified on a skill assignment record. Once you've entered the values as required, simply click Save, and then on any project that is using the skills-based financials, those rates will be calculated. Let's take a quick look at a project that is going to be using the skills-based financials. You can see here, as I'm creating a new project, I've already entered a few of the field values. I'm now at a stage where I need to specify the billing rate. My options are to select standard, role-based or skill-based. I'm going to use the skill-based option for the billing rate, and I'll also select skill-based for the cost rate. Once I'm finished putting in the rest of the details for the project, I can simply click Save. I'll then be ready to build out the rest of the project. Having already taken a look at the new features of action contributors and skills-based costings, now would be a good time to show you the new resource assignment wizard. Before we jump in and take a look at this new wizard, I'll just show you the existing Create Actions form, so you will be familiar with this user interface to be able to build out your actions. To support the resource assignment wizard, we have actually updated the Create Actions form as well. You still access the new Create Actions form from the same button on the project page layout. The same functionality exists on the Create Actions form, but it's now been restyled to look as you can see it here. As I say, all of the existing functionality exists, so we can add additional rows as we can currently. We're able to select a milestone, type in the action name, specify the status. We can indicate how many billable hours and how many non-billable hours are going to be required. To increase efficiency, what we've done here is when we're entering the start date, the end date will automatically populate to the same period, but you can change that if required. Now you can see here I've also got the ability to specify a skill. This skill field will only appear if I actually have set the project to be skills-based financials. So what I'll do is actually specify that I need to have this skill. Now the resource assignment wizard is available from this icon, so I can, if I know who I want to give the action to, I can simply assign them as the normal in the normal manner. However, if I'm unsure who has the capability or the bandwidth to do this, this is where I can use the assignment wizard. So we're really excited about how beneficial this is going to be for our clients. So let's jump in and take a look at what this can do. So in this scenario, I'm not too sure who's going to be able to do this work, so I'll click on the assignment wizard. So there's a number of things here. Up in the top section, I can apply some additional filters. Now it's already pulled in the skill that I set on the action, and it's set myself down the bottom left as the expected action owner. I can filter this down further by selecting specific teams. I can add additional skills to the filter, and I can change the date of when I'm looking for. So what this has done is already pre-filtered the potential roles to show me all of the people that have this skill. So what I can see here is the actual bandwidth that each individual person has got. So we can see here how many hours work each person has currently been assigned. So I can see here that on the Tuesday I'm going to be over hours. So I've got some capacity, but not capable of doing the whole job myself. So what I'm able to do is actually reassign the action to someone else if I need to. So I could just drag Mick down there, and then that would reassign the action to Mick, and it's dynamically adjusted the hours. So now the hours have been transferred to Mick. But what I'll do is I'll actually put myself as the owner. But what I will do, knowing Mick's got some availability, I'm going to drag him down as a contributor. So this is where we can assign those additional people that will be contributing to help Colin do this action. So I'll specify that Mick's going to do 2 of those hours. But while I'm here, I can also go down and say Sasha is also going to be a contributor. So I'll pop her in there, and I'll also say that she'll be doing 2 hours. So as I do that, you'll see that her hours automatically dynamically adjust. So once I'm happy, I can save that, and I've been able to ensure that I've picked the right people to do the job. So like normal, I can just carry on and build out the rest of the actions. So if I know who can do that job, I can assign it to them immediately. Once I'm happy that I've got all of my actions ready, I simply click on Create Actions, and it will drop me back onto the project page confirming that those actions have been created. So we're now going to take a look at a number of new features that have been added to the scheduler, which is obviously our resource planning tool. So there's a few things being added, so let's take a quick look. The hours available view has been added in. So obviously we're all familiar with this view here that we're looking at, where we can see all of the individual actions. So building on the functionality that we've added in with the resource assignment wizard, we've actually added in this button here to the scheduler, which allows us to actually look at the hours view. So if I click on the hours button here, this will load up a similar view to what we see in the resource assignment wizard. So this is actually pulling in all of the hours across those individual actions to give us a quick indication of where the roadblocks might be on which days, where the capacity is lying within each individual resource. So you can see here where there is capacity, we're flagging that up as green. Where the person has a fair amount of hours allocated to them, but they're not quite at their daily capacity, it's flagging up in amber. And then when someone is actually over allocated for a particular day, we're flagging that up as red. You can see here Kendall is obviously going to be on holiday for this full 2 weeks, so they're completely blocked out of that scheduler. I have the ability to actually adjust this as well, just by moving from one week to the next. So that will give us a quick overview of the allocation across each team member. A couple of additional enhancements we've made is around the hours available. So you can see here that on my role record it specifies I'm available for 32 hours per week. So over this 2-week period I've got 64 hours available. In the previous version, that was hard coded to where that would always take the number of weeks multiplied by the hours per week for that role. We've enhanced this now to dynamically adjust to factor in holidays. So as I say, it previously defaulted to your hours per week value set on the role record, and it did not change based on the holidays. So it will now adjust accordingly to deduct those holidays. So what we'll do is quickly jump in, create a holiday for myself. Now that holiday has been created, if I go back to the scheduler, you'll see it's automatically adjusted my available hours over this 2-week period to reflect my holiday. In addition to that, we've also added in a utilization percentage calculation. This provides you with a quick way of identifying how much of each person's time is currently being utilized. So as you can see here, I've got 68 hours allocated and I've only got 58 hours available. So not only is it flagging up red to indicate a bottleneck, it's also giving me the utilization percentage that I'm over my 100% capacity. To support the new contributors functionality, the scheduler now also includes all actions where a role is the action owner or that they are a contributor. If I scroll down here, you'll see that I'm the owner of the design wireframes, and in the example we did earlier, we added Mick as a contributor. So you can see here, Mick has the same action on his record, but it's got in brackets, he's a contributor to it. So I'm able to actually reschedule the master action, and as I do that, the contributor actions will also dynamically schedule to keep in line with the master action. Now I can't do it the other way around. The design wireframe is a read-only action, so I'm not able to actually adjust that directly. If I want to reschedule it, I have to do the rescheduling at the master action level. We're now going to take a look at another exciting new feature that we've got coming in this release. That's billing events. So Mission Control now enables you to raise billing events related to your projects. A billing event is ultimately an invoice or a credit note. There's a number of new objects that have been added to Mission Control to support you being able to raise invoices and credit notes and log payment receipts against your projects. The new objects include the billing event, which is the header information of an invoice or a credit note, the billing event item, which is the line item information of individual line items included on an invoice or a credit note, and then billing payments, which allow you to record the individual payments made against particular invoices. A supporting object called tax rate has also been included, which contains the information relating to a specific tax rate that the invoice or credit note will be using. So this will support clients who operate in multiple countries and trade in multiple tax rates, for example Australian GST, US sales tax and British VAT. There are three options in terms of how you generate your invoices. You can generate an invoice manually, which if you set the billing cycle to manual, you will need to create your own billing events and billing event item records as and when they are required. The next option is milestone. Setting it to milestone, a billing event and billing event item record will automatically be created when the milestone status is set to complete if the invoice on completion field is set to true. The final option is periodic. The periodic option allows you to raise regular invoices throughout the project. Periodic invoices will be raised based on the periodic frequency, which can be set to weekly, fortnightly or monthly. When a periodic invoice is raised, there will be two billing event item records created. One will be for any approved time logs during that period of time. The other one will be for any billable expenses that have been approved during that time. Each billing event can be generated into a PDF that allows you to share that with your client so they have access to the document via a shareable link. You can also brand the PDF with your own logo, with your own invoice and credit note terminology, as well as your own payment details in the footer section. Let's jump in and take a quick look at an example project. Take a look at this project. We can scroll down and we can see that we've already got some predetermined values set. So if I edit this page, you can see we have access to select the tax label. So I've already preset this to be Australian GST. My billing cycle has been set to milestone. As you can see, I have the options of manual and periodic as well. For periodic, you can also specify the frequency, weekly, fortnightly or monthly, and you can also select the payment terms. So if I save those settings on that project, and we'll scroll down and we will see that we've got a milestone here that's in progress. So you can already see I've set the invoice on completion field to true, and I've set the invoice amount to be $2,000. So in order to initiate the creation of the billing event, I'm simply going to set the status to complete. Now this obviously would happen automatically as the team are logging the actions. I'm purely setting this status to complete manually for this demonstration. So I click save. Then once I scroll down, you'll see that a billing event has been created. Let's drill down and take a look at that in more detail. So you can see here it's automatically set the type as invoice. It's currently in draft status, which means I haven't sent it out to the client yet. You can see the summary is pulling in the project name, and I can see the amount, and it's already applied the tax amount based on the tax rate that's being applied. It's got one billing event item underneath it, which is the individual entry for that milestone amount. And you can see here my PDF has not been generated yet. Every 5 minutes a process will run and generate any required invoices as a PDF and generate the shareable link. However, if I want to generate it immediately, I can do so by clicking on the View PDF. So I'll do that now and click the Generate PDF button. So you can see here I've preset that to include my company logo, I've added in my details, and I've put in some payment information in the footer section down the bottom. Now it's pulling in all of the information from the project, who the client is, the invoice number, the purchase order from the project, invoice date, due date, and it's pulling in the billing event item information, which gives me my costs, and then my summary. So now what I can do is go back to the record. I'll just refresh that record to show you that my PDF URL has now been sent. So I'm able to share that link with my client. So the easiest way of sending that to them is to come down here, click on send an email. There is a predefined template available to select, billing event notification for the client. If I click on that, that will pull in all of the merge details necessary. So I will just send that to myself. You'll see here it's merged in the details from the project, specifying the value, and there's a shareable link. Now the client doesn't need to be authenticated or signed into Salesforce. They can simply open that link and it will allow them to view and download a copy of the PDF. In terms of branding the invoice template, you can do this from the Mission Control console within Salesforce Classic. If I scroll down, you will see a new section called Billing Setup. So there's a number of different things here that we need to switch on. First of all, to be able to generate the invoices, we need to set this field to true, and the frequency will be automatically scheduled to happen every 5 minutes. For any periodic billing that needs to happen, you can schedule that, and you can choose the time of day that will run. So in my example here, at 11 o'clock every day, the periodic billing process will operate, and it will generate any invoices that need to be produced. Separately to that, I can customize my invoice template, so I can put in what I would like to appear at the top if it was an invoice, what I would like it to appear if it was a credit note. I can choose my own logo by searching my documents folders and specifying the specific file. The file simply needs to be marked that it's externally available. I can put in my business number that I want to appear on the invoice, and then I can add in the details of any footer notes. So you can see here I've added in some basic HTML tags as well, just to format the data. We'll now take a quick look at another new feature that's been added in as part of this release, the expense logger. A new form has been included in Mission Control that will enable you to submit multiple expense records in one simple interface. You can access the expense logger from the Mission Control console by clicking the expense log button as per the screen here. So if I scroll down, you'll see I now, next to my timesheet, have the button expense log. So I simply click on that. That will open up the form, and it allows me to select the person that we are submitting the expenses for. So I'll select myself here. That will automatically look up my mileage rate specified on my roll record. And you can see here I've got one draft expense record ready to create. I also have the ability to put in multiple additional rows if I want to submit multiple expenses. So I'll just add a few extra rows to the list. What I'm now able to do is actually look up a project. I can specify the category, enter the date that the expense occurred. I can either put in an amount or a distance. So in this example, I'm going to say I've traveled 100 kilometers. That automatically calculates the amount being claimed based on my mileage rate. I could put in some notes. And specify that to be submitted. I also have the option to indicate whether it's going to be non-billable. Now if it is non-billable, it won't be factored into the billing event item records on periodic invoices. I'll quickly just add an extra few expenses now. Once I've finished creating all of my expenses, I can see the total amount being claimed. Once I'm ready, I can click on Create Expenses, and that will create the 4 separate expense records. I'll get confirmation that they've all been created. We've also added in a new list view to allow someone to see any pending expenses they've got. If I go to the Expenses Home tab, I'll see I have this My Pending Expenses list view. I can simply click on that and look at any expense records that are in the system with a status of pending that are incurred by myself. When I'm ready to submit those expenses for approval, I can simply select them all, double click using the inline edit functionality, set those to submitted, apply that to all of my selected records, and click Save. When I click on refresh, you'll see that all of my expenses are now submitted and waiting approval. A feature that we see included in this release is the ability to export a mission control project into an XML file that can then be imported into Microsoft Project. We've had several requests from clients that use mission control for their own business, but their project is part of a much larger project their clients are running. In such circumstances, they've been asked to provide an update of their project so that it could be imported into Microsoft Project alongside everyone else. We now have that ability to export that file. To export a mission control project so it can be imported into Microsoft Project, you simply need to go to the Gantt chart view, click on the MS Project button, click on Export. That will generate an XML file that you can download, and then you can import directly into MS Project. There's been a number of additional smaller enhancements that have been applied to mission control. We'll just take a quick look at those now, but you can also read about them in the release notes. So first of all, a number of enhancements have been applied to the holiday object, enabling you now to identify the type of holiday that is being taken. Ultimately, you can assess holiday or absence from work via this object now. A number of additional fields have been added, including obviously the type, and an approval process has also been included. So you can actually submit this, and then whoever is your timesheet approver can also approve your holidays and absence from work. You also are able to specify how many hours were taken as part of this holiday. A list view has been included that dynamically shows you any holidays requiring your approval. Here you can see I've got one for Amy who was on sick leave on the 26th of August. I'm able to just simply come along, mark that as approved and save, and that will disappear off my to-do list. Supporting that, we've also added in to the timesheet the visibility of any absences from work to make sure you can account for all of your hours within a particular week. You can see here the existing functionality within the timesheet still exists, showing me all of my different actions, but as well as that, at the bottom I have visibility of any holiday or absence records. So you can see here I was off sick on Wednesday, and I'm going to be taking vacation on Friday. Finally, we've made a couple of enhancements to the action object. Where the notify box is set to true, the action, and if the action owner is changed, both the outgoing action owner and the incoming action owner will both receive an app mention in Chatter notifying them that they have the ownership has changed. Separately, but also on the action object, we've added two new fields that will track the baseline start date and end date. They will be automatically populated when the start date and end date are originally added. Subsequently, if we change the dates of the start date and end date, which I have in this example, you'll see that they reflect the accurate position now, and what we'll be able to do is go back in time and track the variance between the baseline and the actuals. Okay guys, well that wraps up everything that we want to cover off that's included in the most recent release of Mission Control. We hope you're excited as we are to see all of these new features, and as always we would love to hear your feedback, and certainly if you've got any questions please feel free to email them through to support@aprica.com.au, and we look forward to speaking to you at the next release. Thanks, bye.